All right, welcome back to the live stream, everybody. We're continuing the work on a puzzle platformer, in case you don't know. Last time, what have we done last time actually? I think we were working on the pressable terminal, which can activate things. Right. And since then, as you may notice, I changed a few things. Visually speaking, we are no longer using the Rapier debug plugin for rendering stuff. Everything is rendered, customly. I did some refactoring when it comes to how we handle, finding the closest anchor to connect to. As you can see, they are now, properly sort of highlighted depending on the current state. So first of all, if we are out of the reach of the anchor, it's just grayed out, and then as we become within the radius, as we enter, as we get close enough, I guess, the circle inside becomes white, and then this green bigger ring sort of symbolizes the currently focused anchor, because we can be within the vicinity of two anchors, right? And then we need to decide which one we want to use. On a mouse, this is done using, our cursor. And this is something we're going to have to work on as well. On a gamepad, I'm going to show you, if I could get my gamepad connected. Yeah, here we go. On the gamepad, I can use my right joystick to sort of bias where I want to look for the anchor, right? So it does a little line raycast, right, to find the closest edge of the screen. And then, by tilting my joystick more or less, I can sort of manipulate this. I don't know if this is good, to be honest. I have my worries. So I also wanted to experiment with just using a circle, which may be a bit more, may make a bit more sense, right, than this square-based approach. This red circle currently sort of symbolizes where the position is being placed by me as the player, but I imagine in the final game it wouldn't be visible at all. Yeah, we also have the platform, which I improved quite a lot, namely, some things about the velocity and how it transfers to the player. Now, as you can see, first of all, the animation controller actually understands that we are standing on the platform, so there's no running animation as we enter the platform. And secondly, I can jump off the platform and the velocity is correctly preserved. Because previously, as I was running towards the edge of the platform, somewhere at this moment, my velocity would reset, and so I would start accelerating from zero, basically, right? Right now, it's not the case. We sort of maintain the velocity of the platform. I also added stepping configuration to the game, so I can do what I'm doing right now, which is, step through individual frames of the game. Okay, and the plan for today is, I think, these things. So basically restricting the interactable distance for some of our components. What about cycling through them with shoulder buttons or something? I don't know how dynamic that would be, because right now you just point towards the direction of what you want to interact with. And especially when doing something, falling down and stuff like that, I don't know how well cycling through would work. What else? Oh yeah, so right now we have these hooks, right, which basically teleport me to them. And this is a really good example of why we need those. Why we need this choice, because usually anchors themselves will probably never overlap, game design wise, but this can probably happen where we are in the vicinity of this anchor, but there's a hook that's technically further away but we still want to be able to use it. So another fix that we need to do, which is what I want to start with today, is making sure that we cannot interact with hooks that are like invisible, like what I just did here, right? While falling through here, I interacted with this hook, despite the fact that it's like way outside of the camera frustum, right? So this is what we're gonna be tackling today. And also probably do the same refactoring that I did for these anchors and hooks, but for these little things that we can interact with using the E key. So things like a terminal or a cube, which I'm not sure where it is. It may not be rendered right now. Hold on, let me try to find it. Yeah, the cube is right here, but it's not visible. We can't pick it up. So we probably need to add some rendering system for the cube as well. Maybe let's start with that, because it's gonna be a bit annoying. Okay, so yeah, there is nothing that would even attempt to render the cube. So let's see, we're probably gonna just use gizmos for now. Although I have a vague memory of trying to render a cube, I wonder if maybe I tried to do that somewhere else and now I don't remember, but I don't think that's the case. Anyway, we're gonna query presumably we're gonna query for what? For the transform, I think, is all we need. Global transform, presumably. With a cube spawner, which is our cube. And then just for each transform like that, we're gonna draw a little cuboid. So here we can just, the reference is a transform and multiply it by transform from scale. And the scale is gonna be 1 times 8, because that's the size of our cube. And then color can be, I guess, white. Okay, what is the problem? Oh, the name drawCube is defined multiple times. Oh, okay, so see, I knew that I did that. Just rewrote the same function. Okay. So yeah, that's not 12 though, that's 8. So why aren't you running? Oh, you are? Well, that's peculiar. Oh, it's because we removed the spawner at the end. Okay. So we need to use something else. Yeah, I guess let's define... Oh, there is a component here already. It's almost like I thought about this or something. Crazy. Yeah, we're gonna register this type so that we can see it, and then we're gonna query for with cube spawner, and here we're gonna add the cube as well. Yeah, so now that should be fixed. Hello, welcome to the live stream. So it's been 10 minutes, so maybe I'm assuming most people are already here. So I just wanted to sort of make a little announcement that I now have a fixed schedule for these live streams, which you can find on my twitch.tv artificial/schedule. And it's basically every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, the same time as right now. And this is what I'm gonna be trying to stick to moving forward. Okay, so we now have the cube, but it's smaller than I thought, because it's probably not 8. And it should be 16, twice the size of that. Okay, and it should even properly like rotate, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's perfect. There it is, our little cube. Remember yesterday when talking about Helix, you know what I fell in love with it? It's like Vim, but on steroids. Out of the box, you really should try using it. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm planning on using it. I'm pretty sure I said that like during the previous live stream. I will, but the current state of affairs is that I need to learn how to use the keyboard properly, because currently I cannot type to save my life. And you know, I wouldn't want to live stream with me, you know, coding 40 words per minute. Okay, so this would be the cube. Yeah, now let's tackle the restricting the distance. So there's some refactoring that I've done since the last live stream. Now each and every single targetable has this 3 components called available, focused, and active, and this is what's being said by our systems, right? So to show you like an example of it with an anchor has its own system called check activity, which modifies available, and this is where it basically, you know, checks like, oh, can I be interacted with the player? So in this case, it's basically like, am I close enough to the player to be interacted with? And if so, we, you know, set the available. So this is an old name. Available, right? We set it to true. And then the player has their own system here and focusing, right? And it's like, let's ignore this. This is just biasing. And in it, we are querying over, you know, all of the targetables with the available component. And then we like check, is the available component set to true? If so, we find the closest thing, and then assign it to our player controller. And this is, for example, where the focus component is being set, right? And then finally, in our free run state, we just check like, oh, is there some closest targetable on the player controller that was found by the previous system? And if so, we transition accordingly, like we did previously. There's nothing new here, other than the fact that the anchor state then says the active component on the anchor, right? So it's basically, you know, available is like, can we interact with it? Focused is, is the player currently focusing on that specific targetable? And then active is the player currently interacting with that targetable. And this is what is then used, you know, for like drawing it. So like if we are focused, we want this bigger circle based on whether we are active or just available. This is also the wrong name. Available. Same time I got inspired by you, so I started a new Twitch channel, and I'm about to start streaming. Hello, I love your channel. Thanks so much. Yeah, so when it comes to restricting the hook so that it can only be visible, we're just gonna wanna add this check in here. Right now we only check if the player can like raycast to the hook, right? So if something is obscuring the hook, we're doing nothing. And we now also need to check if it's visible in the camera's frustum. So idle calling is how they call it. So I guess I'm gonna add an ABBB component here from min-max, I guess. What would it be? Radius is 8, so that would be 8. So that's gonna be vector 3 -1 times 8, right? And then vector 3 1 times 8. Tantan says, you already love Helix. That was fast. Nice, man. I'm assuming in response to Anon. Which is, yeah, kind of wild, right? In like 2 days. This is a Visual Studio Code extension that shows which variable you are passing to the function parameters. No. The inline hints, like this. If you're talking about this, then no, it's a new feature in Visual Studio Code. I mean, recently new. It's built into the language server, I believe. Yeah, that's like the LSP thingy. I remember seeing like a Visual Studio Code video about, you know, about announcing this feature. Okay, so with this AABB, we're gonna be able to probably call this hook, right? We're just gonna take it here. Yeah, we're probably gonna need the camera as well. I don't know actually what we need from the camera. If it's just the camera component, we're gonna figure it out with the story camera. This is the main camera in the game. Okay. Now what can I do with you? Let me actually maybe find it this way. Just gonna see where this is used. Calculate bounds. Colliders with AABB, that's a rapier thing. View frustum intersects OBB. Checks if an oriented bounding box intersects the frustum. Model to world. Okay, that would probably be it. There's also intersect sphere, I guess, which we could technically use because it's really just a point in space, right? Doesn't have to be a perfectly fit bounding box. Yeah, and I believe frustum is available on the camera itself, maybe. Although I wouldn't be surprised if there's gonna be some shenanigans with when the frustum is recalculated. Or maybe it's not on the camera, but on something else. Perhaps camera 2D. And I remember reading through it. Camera projection, is that a component? No, it's not, that's the trait. Maybe something like orthographic projection, right? Yeah. Okay, there is a compute frustum. Given the global transform. Okay, so that's where the camera's transform is coming to play. Hi, hello, welcome to the stream. Anybody who's just tuning into it. Okay, I guess then just gonna get the global transform for now. It's technically gonna be before propagation, but at the same time it's gonna be before updating the camera's position anyway, because that happens like later in the game. Because that has to happen. That has to happen. Yeah, that's a weird dependency we have going on here. Because the camera needs to be updated after the player moved. The player movement needs to be updated after we figure out the closest interactables, and the closest interactables require the camera's position. So I guess it has to be 1 frame late. I don't think there's any other way around that. Like, it would always be. It's not even like a Bevy thing. In any other engine it would probably be the same. Closing bracket, okay. So you can get the frustum and then we can do something with OOB, intersects OOB, yeah, exactly. And AAB is gonna be here. AABB. Model to world, that's gonna be just the global transform affine, right? Now this is interesting. We don't really care about these. Intersect near, intersect far. It's not gonna matter because it's a an orthographic camera. Why does it even need that? Intersect near, oh, these are booleans. Like if it should check that, well then no. We do not care. problem. Oh, it was okay then. Okay, there was an issue before, I think. Visible. No, we can probably. No, we cannot early out in this situation. So I guess we can if that. No. Okay, hold on. What would be the logic behind this? If we don't intersect the frustum, then we can immediately use false. Otherwise, we need to do all of this raycasting. Because, like, ideally, we don't want to do the raycasting if we're not even visible. Yeah, okay. I hate how it looks formatted like this, but I guess that should be it. Okay, so unsurprisingly, it does not work. Like at all. Oh wait, they don't have AABB. We need to rebuild it. And for that I need Blender. Interesting. Looks like they still don't have it. Anchors do, but hooks don't. Why is that? Let's see. Hook. Yeah, you have the AABB with like the center and extends. What about here? Yeah, so it's there but not here, interestingly enough. Oh wait, I'm silly. Yeah, I was, before the live stream I was experimenting with something. I was checking out embeddable assets, and I actually managed to like embed you know, the character sprites and the Blender level, so that I can just, you know, send the executable to somebody without needing all of the files you know, stored separately in a separate folder. So we probably need to come back to the previous setup. But it's really cool the way it works. Okay, so the reason it didn't work is because it was loading an older version of the scene that didn't contain AABBs. At least I think so. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Now it's, you know, within the frustum, and then it's outside of it. Okay, that was easy. We need to do the same thing for kinesis, but I don't know about it. I don't know about the whole ability of like being able to move objects. I'm sort of on the edge with it. I recently finished Outer Wilds, and it sort of gave me some inspiration for a different ability instead of kinesis, which would be more like controlling a different object, which is kind of like kinesis, but I'd like these objects to be different and have different control schemes. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna pursue this idea for the playtest at least. So let's not focus on that. Force fields. Yeah, I kind of know how to do it. Maybe let's try. Let me also commit all of these changes because I have some things stacked up here. Do you have any errors? We do. What if you could project any of your self-moving abilities to one object? What are the self-moving abilities? I'm not sure I understand. Wouldn't it just make it control the same way you control the player? We don't need this. Don't need this as well. Ooh, the whole context is now no longer necessary. That's nice. Window, also not necessary. None of this. Okay, I think that's all. For example, click box, use the zip to anchor ability. The box zips. That would be really specific though. Because like zip, you used a really interesting example, because zipping is the only ability that like doesn't require movement, right? But any of the other abilities, like walking on the walls, using the anchors, using the extraction tunnels, they require you to move around. So like zipping would be the only ability that would make sense in this context. Otherwise, you would need to make the box move, in which case it would just control like a player, right? But I was thinking about something similar, but in terms of like machines that you can sort of control remotely, right? So maybe, you know, when it comes to walking on the walls, you can control a little walkable, you know, machine dog, and it can only move on the floor, right? It cannot jump, it cannot do anything. It can only like move in a specific direction, for example, right? And then you could have something else that's maybe flying, right? And you sort of control it like a little rocket. So you like just go up, left and right. And if we eventually go insane and actually add like a water level, you could have like a little machine that swims underwater, right? But this is definitely like out of the scope of the playtest, right? So that's not something that I would work on right now. I'm just thinking that this would be better than just kinesis that allows you to lift objects remotely. Yeah, all of this is not important right now though. So, I'm gonna commit this. It's a lot of features here. Why does it only commit parts of them? What happened? Yeah, there we go. Hold on a second. I'm gonna put you on the break screen because I need to log into GitHub. Okay, did it work? I don't know. Hold on. Technical difficulties. This is not a break. I'm still here. Yeah, I guess it worked. Hold on. Okay. So now we need to take care of, you know, the terminals and the boxes so that they are also correctly highlighted, because right now they're using the old scheme and we need to use the new one. So I want to be able to, first of all, highlight this box, and second of all, you know, select which thing I'm interacting with using the E key in a bit of a nicer manner. And also we need to render the force fields, because right now they're just not there. Like right here, there's a force field that's not visible. Okay, so let's start with wherever the holdables are being handled. This is here. Yeah, so now I kind of know how to tackle this, this whole thing here. We can probably even reuse parts of some of the components from targetables, like that available, focus, and active. Yeah, so can interact is no longer necessary. Let's see, some terminal. Do we have a terminal? No, because it's called a toggle for some reason. I'm gonna have to rename this eventually. Okay, so it receives an interactable called terminal. And what we actually need is probably an entire bundle. So interactable bundle, right? And let's just derive the bundle. And this could be actually called interactable variant to sort of mimic how targetables are handled. So now this is going to be variant, interactable variant, active, which is active, focused, it's just focused, and then available is just available. And we can implement some helper method here. Just gonna take a variant and fill in the rest. Return self. Yeah, so this is the variant, and then the rest is just the default. Okay, now the toggle can just use that. This will add all of the necessary components to it. And let's do the same thing for the cube. I guess we can do it here. Or maybe not. Oh, okay, we need to import this. Okay. So now again, following the same idea, we're gonna have a function here. Check availability. What are we gonna query? Gonna query a cube, that's for sure. We will need some global transform, presumably, and mutable availability. Okay, so for transform mutable available, how are we gonna check this? Right now we just set closest distance to 32. I guess we can reuse that for now. So is available is gonna be transform translation distance. Now we need the player as well. Transform with the player. Player transform, that's gonna be player get single. Otherwise we just continue. Or actually return. Okay, so what is the distance to the player? Right, if that's less than 32, we assume that we are available. So now if the previous available is different than is available, we're gonna wanna set it up. And I'm doing it because eventually I feel like for the sake of animations, I will be I will want to detect the change from like available to a different thing. And this way I should be able to only trigger this, you know, change detection if we actually change the state. Okay, so this is gonna happen in fixed pre-update. I've yet to set up some nice schedule states, system sets, that's the name for them. Because right now I'm just using schedules to order things, and I feel like it's gonna bite me in my bottom at some point. And then in the draw cube, we can reference the available thing. I'm probably gonna end up referencing most of these. But even the reference it right here. And we can change the color, right? If available, then we want white. Otherwise, we want something else. Probably gray, I guess. We can stick with grays for everything. Oh yeah, it has to be the reference twice. Okay. Oh right, hold on, I need to rebuild this because I started building the project before I made this change, so there is no color change yet. And then presumably in the free run, okay, so now it highlights. When we are within the distance. That's awesome. Yeah, so for now we can just reuse the same thing for the toggle. It's really no point in having a different logic for it. Fixed pre update, check availability, okay. Okay. Without this semicolon at the end. Okay, and then draw toggle could also use some availability here. So if status is 0, then we want it to be red, I suppose. Oh man, displaying this with just colors is kind of difficult. I guess for now, if it's active, it's just active. And then else if it's available, there's gonna be a different color, and then else it's gonna be gray. So I guess available would be just white. And then focusing is gonna be probably also really similar to this. Yeah, okay. Ooh, the box is not really liking. Oh, it's not liking being drawn at all. Hold on, what have I done? Why is it like this? This is being drawn in last. Does it also shake in this camera? Yeah, I think so. Here is even like kind of smooth. The platform is like the worst offender here. That's interesting. It may have to do with me tweaking some system order in the player. I guess so, because hold on, how do we do that? Holdable. This is where we update it, and we update it using velocity, don't we? Yeah, okay, so here's a problem. There are a few problems in here. First of all, we are running after sync backend, but I wanted this to run after sync backend, but before step simulation. But that's not the case. I guess because I need to add before here, right? But this is still wrong, because then holdable is going to be updated after, the velocity of holdable is going to be updated after the sync backend run. So the velocity is not going to be transferred to Rapier. But let's see, this new version. Oh, this new version does not work at all, interestingly. Yeah, update physics is happening here. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, that's my fault. We can't do that. We can't run before sync backend and after sync backend and before step simulation. Because then the write back happens. So it's like the positions are moved to Rapier here. We then modify them on our side, and then Rapier writes them back, overriding any of our changes. So yeah, let's just make it run before this and see. This should at least make holdable work properly. I'm not sure if it's not gonna break the platforms. but I don't think it should. Okay, so the platforms work, the box does not. Man, I hate this because we already fixed this issue a few streams ago. Now it came back to haunt us. Okay, let's see then if I can maybe figure this out. Maybe let's go to the platform. Ooh, hold on. Yeah, this shaking over there, but not in this camera, it seems. Yeah, it seems to be moving just fine. It doesn't stutter here. Oh well, I guess I'm gonna look into this on my own eventually. Yeah, but I will leave this change as it is right now. Or maybe it should happen after write back, I guess. That would make the most sense. Okay, but other than that, what were we doing? Okay, now we need to use another system for focusing. Right, so this maybe should be now called update targetable focus. Right, I'm just gonna copy paste it and change it accordingly. Update interactable focus. So we probably don't need the input. We probably don't need the camera. I don't think we need gizmos as well. And we just need a interactable variant here. Okay, player is the same. This whole thing is not necessary. Okay, and we also need a new way to store this information. So this is basically the closest interactable to the player that the system has found. Okay, would that be it? Probably. We'll just look for whatever is closest to the player, set it up. Okay. It is tempting to make it like generic, but I want to avoid it for now, because I know that we will also need a similar system for the launch pads, because they are like the third type of interaction with a different button. And this can run together. Okay, so now update holdable will become update interactable. This is probably not necessary, because there is no collision, because we are only, you know, accessing the transform component as read-only. Okay, so now this is done for us. We no longer need to worry about this. Yeah, and instead of closest holdable, we just have controller dot interactable. That's our closest interactable. And it's gonna be player interactable. This is the entity. And this is the variant, if that's how you denote that using the structuring. But yeah, I guess so. Okay, and all of this is not necessary. In fact, I'm pretty sure, yeah, this whole query is no longer necessary, because a different system takes care of that. Let's see. Can probably just use the normal name here. This also, I've been thinking, we came up with this whole action ID scheme here. I don't think it was necessary, because if we were to model this using state machines, that problem would disappear, because the transition to the next state would happen in the next frame. So we wouldn't have like colliding systems reading the same input. Now as I think of it, maybe we're gonna end up rewriting it as a state machine, but for now, we can go even crazier now as I think of it. We'll see what's gonna happen if we do that. We can get rid of the state machine here and these restrictions and move them over to a holdable. Okay, I'll think about this, but I need a little break. So I'm gonna see you in 6 minutes. Okay. I suppose we can continue. Yeah, so we want to basically get rid of all of this from this system. All we really do is we do the control holdable and assign the new holdable to it. If this was a state, a different system could just change it and not bother. Hi, hello everybody. And then if we could also get rid of this has changed thing using a state machine, which I'm assuming would work. Okay, let's not overthink it and just do it and see what's gonna happen. Did you solve the dynamic kinematic collision? No, I mean Rapier just doesn't detect those. So I'm using a custom query when I need the player to interact with something. So it does work, it does what I want it to do. So I guess in that respect it is solved, but you know, we couldn't get Rapier to work the way we wanted it to work. Okay. Just seal this if statement. So we don't need terminals, we just need interactables. Availability here, and then with interactable variant. Yeah, so we don't even care about the variant. What we can do is just do and then. And then just return the interactables dot get I dot entity. what would that give us? Expected an enum, found a result. Okay. Okay. What are you? You're just available, but I want you to be mutable. Oh. And I want you to be active. Actually, that's the wrong component. Okay, and then technically all we need to do is just say that active is like true, right? And everything else would be handled by the components. So let's see, let's go to the cube because that would be the most complex situation. Handle activation, I guess. And then we're gonna query. It's gonna be a mutable query actually. When the mutable active with active that changed. Okay, and probably also access to the player. I'm thinking how do you even structure this? I know if what I'm trying to do is possible. It's query for the player controller. Right, and then, you know, if there is no player controller, I just return. So if we are active, what's the problem here? Oh, never mind. Okay, if we are active, we want this to happen. Oh, what's this? Oh, because holdable also have states. Forgot about that. Okay, but that's okay because I think we can replace them with the active component instead of having states. If we just look for the active thing. So okay, let's just take this. We need the entity here as well. And we can use default here for now. So ideally, we're not gonna need the action ID. What's the matter? Assigned to control holdable, which is behind a shared reference. Not behind the reference controller is a. Okay. That's mutable. And technically we could just reset the flag to false. Right, so it's just a really simple event kind of thing. It's like, oh, the flag has been set, so I'm reading it and then I'm resetting it back. And this would have to be changed to states, and then it should all come together, I think. So then toggle doesn't have to do like practically anything. Let's just steal this. Right, toggle is just gonna be change active again. Query, oh, hold on. Actually, we can just do that. We need to restrict it to holdables, right? Similarly here, there's gonna be not just changed active, but also with toggle. And we don't even need the player here, because really all we need to do is just listen if the flag has changed, and then take the trigger status as mutable and just toggle it. Is this a 0? Yeah. What's the problem here? Expressions, oh, okay. The ampersand was missing. And now handle activation is gonna happen in a fixed post update. Both here and for the cube. Okay, so now all of this is not necessary. This has been handled. This has also been technically handled. I guess we need this as well, right? We need to check if we actually press the button. Okay, so this holdable now. It's gonna have to go away, and we're gonna change it into a state. So let's copy one of these. That's gonna be player holdable state. And it's gonna be just holding an entity or be free, I guess. For now, let's use these names. Player holdable state. Now it's gonna be added to the player. This can now be properly called update holdable. And the player now is gonna require some more things. First, we're gonna need the current state for a player holdable state, and probably has entered state for player holdable state. Yeah, and now the state doesn't have to be on the holdable itself. So let's get all of the player related things. Physics, transform, current state, entered state, what's wrong with this? This panel has 4 fields, but the corresponding tuple struct has 1 field. Oh. So now we can match on the current state. So if we are free, we probably don't want to do anything. Yeah, but if we are holding an entity, we want to get it. What's the name of the query? Oh, it's just query. Okay. So query get single mutable. It's gonna be holdable entity. Oh, we actually don't need this. So we already have it. Just dereference this, okay. No, what's the problem? Oh, not single, just get mutable. Okay, so holding would basically be this. All of this. What is this if statement? Oh, okay. So then we have the picked up state, and that's really easy to handle now, because we can just check if we enter the state and just do whatever we want it to do as an initialization, which is just setting the gravity to 0. And then we have dropped, which is kind of like leaving the state, right? So to handle this, we just need the exited state. And then let's take it out of the player. This is current state, enter state, exited state. And we can think about splitting it into multiple systems, but I don't think it's gonna be big enough. And now it's just gonna be if matches. Exited state is player holdable state holding some entity. And we're just gonna need to query this entity as well. So basically do this, right? So this is gonna handle exiting the state, making sure that the gravity is like reset back to whatever. I guess this could also be an if statement instead, because we also only care really about like one state here. It's gonna match the current state, and then this whole thing is not necessary anymore. Yeah, so here we handle like entering and like being in the state, and here's leaving the state. Not completely happy with that, because no, actually, never mind, I am happy with this. So this would be all of this here that can now be removed. Now we just set active here. And another thing I guess that we need is also check the current state. For player holdable state. Player holdable state, like this. And then we only really care about this if the current state is player holdable state 3. If it's not 3, then, you know, we don't want to interact with anything. Okay, and I guess this could be a match statement. So we need one more thing here. Right, if we are free, we want to do this. But if we are not free, so we're just pressing the E key again while holding something, we just want to drop it. And we should be able to really easily drop it by transitioning to a different state. This is gonna have to be mutable. Current state mutable, next state, okay, and then next state is player holdable state free. Okay, if I wrote everything correctly, it should just work. Which of course it will, it always does, famously, statistically. Oh, okay, and now we don't need the controller here, but rather the next state as well. So we can just transition from within here, I guess. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like that at all. I feel like, to be honest, we can just make an exception, maybe. Hold on, where's... Oh, here it is, never mind. Right, we could just make an exception here. Because I feel like it feels a bit silly to like have like these two systems handling the player holdable state, and then the cube system, it's like out of nowhere, is also changing these states. So you have like weird transitions happening that you don't really know where they are coming from. If we do something like this, so just take the mutable active and the variant here, then we can just match on the variant. And just have a specific thing to do if it's a holdable. And that specific thing would simply be transitioning to a different state. Oh, and we don't okay, we don't have the entity. Let's take it from here. It's gonna be the simplest solution. Interactable entity. And then otherwise we just do this. And we can even do active here to sort of maintain the previous way it worked. Oh, and this also needs pressed. Okay, and then this whole system would not be necessary anymore. In fact, we can go even further. Oh, what's the problem here? Oh, I need to dereference it, don't I? Or maybe not. Do you still live in Poland? If so, are the streaming hours motivated by your viewers' activity or your broken sleep schedule? What do you mean broken? It's perfectly fine. Oh, I'm sorry I don't wake up at 4 a.m. and be productive and whatever. Yeah, but I still do live in Poland. I make like $5 an hour. I don't think I could live anywhere else. Why can't I match you? You can be the reference. Oh, because the reference is the reference. Right? Yeah, okay. This is a function. And you need a double the reference as well. And you are the way you're supposed to be. Okay. Oh, I'm doing it wrong, am I not? Hold on. I feel like I have methods for that. Yeah, there's like set and get mutable. I'm silly. Okay, I shouldn't be dereferencing everything. You're still doing well for Polish standards. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I said that. Oh, does it not work this way? Can I not access entity from within here after using matches? That's a bummer if that's true. It should be the reference though. So what's going on here? Current state. Transform current state. Entered state, exited state. But why are you not highlighted properly? this exit state not have that. It's gonna be a bummer. Sad if true. Yeah, it only has the reference. Let's yank this, I guess. There's no mutating this. Okay, what's the problem now? Mismatched types, expected player controller, found player holdable state. What am I doing here? Oh, that's not player controller, that's not correct at all. Okay. So the only problem is the fact that it seems that these variables are not present in this scope. What is this resolved to? Oh yeah, it just returns true or false. That is a bummer. No, hold on, actually. We can use let sum. Not even let sum, just let this equal the state. Yeah, I'm stupid. It's gonna be the same thing, right? Yeah, okay. Let's do the same thing up here. Except this is the current state. Okay, and what is your problem? Okay. Looks like that would be all. We don't need the player entity, apparently. So now we can also clean the holdable a little bit, right? Because it doesn't need any of this. This can be just a struct. Component reflect. Clone copy default, I guess. Reflect components too. Am I not storing it in a scene? Hello, just tuning in. What are you working on at the moment? Well, I would show you, but we're in the middle of refactoring. But I'm currently figuring out how to handle things that the player can interact with using the E key when they're close enough. So like picking up cubes and using a terminal. And we've been sort of thinking about this for a few streams, on and off. And the current idea is to just have one component that represents something that you can interact with. And then our interactable system just sends the information about it being activated using a component. And then whatever that thing is can handle it however it wants to. This should actually be anything, not just terminal. Yeah. Hi, can you say what kind of theme and font you have in Visual Studio Code? So the font is like the best font to ever exist, which is JetBrains Mono. And the theme is the default theme. Highly recommend this font. Not even one of the favorite font of mine that I use everywhere in my videos, in my graphics, stuff like that. Yeah, and the theme is just the theme. I don't know the name of it. It was there when I installed Visual Studio Code. Hi, can you... Oh no, I already answered that. Cool, nice and modular, thank you. Oh, so that's the font. Yeah, that's exactly the font. It's open source. You can use it for whatever you want. It looks beautiful. It has this really cool, I don't know how to say that. It has a heightened letter height when it comes to, you know, lowercase letters. So it's not as small compared to the big ones. It makes it really readable. Because right now this is 13 pixels, I believe. Oh, I cannot do that in Visual Studio Code. I believe this is 13 pixels, right? But it looks like visually bigger. Okay, why are you not building? Oh, we don't need to worry about the status because it's not an enum anymore. We don't need that. We don't need you. We don't need you here. I guess we need a with holdable. I'm assuming this is a bit better performance-wise because it's gonna look for everything that matches this, right? Well, it's not gonna look for anything because this is ECS, right? It's not like it's doing the lookup at runtime, but I missed the name of the font. It's JetBrains Mono. You're on YouTube, you can like rewind, I believe. We don't need the transform. Okay. I guess so. We don't seem to be mutating the velocity, which we probably should start doing instead of inserting a component. Oh wait, I overshadowed this, haven't I? No, all of this is not necessary. Which means that maybe commands, yeah, commands in general are not being used. That's awesome. We're just modifying components instead of inserting them. Okay. Okay, if this builds and like works the first time, it's gonna be crazy. It didn't crash, it didn't panic. Where are you, Mr. Cube? Right here. Okay, what are we looking for? Holdable is not gonna change. Active is not gonna change. We actually need to look at the player controller, I suppose. Targetable, interactable. Oh, it's even worse than that. We need to look at the state, which we cannot look at because we need to exclusively register it. Not exclusively, explicitly, excuse me. Do I do it for other things? Probably. Oh, you know what we could do? Since we have this state, it would be much easier to like have a little helper function. Just make a trait. Something like this, right? And then the function would be, what is it in Bevy? That would be cool to have. In Bevy it would be add systems, register something with state, init state and insert state. So I'm gonna have a method called register state, I guess, because I want to just register the types for them for a given state. Okay, and then the state is gonna be here. We're gonna need some mutable reference to self, and we're gonna return a mutable reference to self. Is that how you would write that? I think so. I'm just gonna implement this trait for the app from Bevy. Now we're just gonna register all of the types for different, you know, states. Exited state and then entered state. Type path is not satisfied. Oh, that's not true. Required by entered e-state. Get type registration. Oh, okay. Because it's reflected. Should the S in app state extension be capitalized? Yeah. Because that's the name of the type. If it was a lifetime, you would like denote it like this, right? Like even if I show you, you know, register type, for example, right? That's from Bevy. You can see that they're using T. Oh, I guess we can just copy that. That should be enough? No, apparently not. Structure requirements, then trait. Oh, okay. Almost. I guess I could just do type path here. Or maybe not. Oh, okay. This is the same mistake. Now, what else do you need? From reflect. Okay, and phantom data from reflect is not satisfied. What do you have phantom data? What do you need it for? Oh, because you're not storing the data. But I'm pretty sure I can register you myself. Oh no, I cannot. Okay, that's the reason this error is here, because I cannot register it while it has phantom data. Okay, what if I just don't serialize it though? Because there is a way to do that, right? Not even serialize, not reflected. If I don't reflect it. Oh wait, that's the trait, right? I need the macro. Yeah, reflect, ignore. Here we go. See if that's gonna help. It will. Should look at that. No, not in the trait name. Oh, okay, I see. Oh, wait, that's the wrong shortcut. You are correct. So does this mean that I don't need the get type registration? Okay. What about this? No, wait, I can just remove this from here. Okay, but these two are necessary. That's weird because register type only mentions this thing. Okay, so now technically we should be able to just go to the player module, and instead of registering everything individually, we can just register state. And this would be the state. Oh, we could probably even like omit this altogether and add this here as well. Right? Wrong. Oh, now this needs to implement the thing. Okay, I get it. So I guess let's not do that, because I don't think it's gonna be necessary, because it cannot function as a standalone component anyway. So we're not gonna reflect it like that. Where's the player? Here you are. And then we can just register player holdable state. See what's gonna happen. This technically still counts as the first time, because I didn't check if the cube works, right? I saw that not all the types were reflected, and I added them here. So this is still first time. So player controller. No. Oh, now we have the states here. Oh, what do you mean? It's not registered in the type registry, but I registered it. Oh, but this works. Okay. So it's just the next E state. Oh yeah, because it's like another component. Next E state. Okay. It doesn't work. Sadly. Oh, it does work with the terminal. We can toggle it on and off. That's awesome. It does not work with this though. Oh, so the next E state is holding. Okay, I see. I see the problem. It's pretty silly problem. We just didn't add any flash states for the new state. So we are setting up the next state, but it's never transferred as the current state. Okay. Maybe second time. Second time the charm. So I need to take a break. So I'm gonna be back in like 6 minutes and see you then. Okay, guys, some bad news. I don't think it works. I think it shouldn't be like that. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if we can figure out what's happening. So, what is the next state? See everything. So yeah, we enter the holding state. That's okay. With the cube, that's also okay. And the cube just flies off. So its gravity is like 0. And then I cannot drop it. Hello again, I just finished. My brain is fried. Thanks for giving me motivation. No problem. You're welcome. So a few things are happening, surely. The gravity is not reset. And we also cannot let go of it. Oh, now we did. Okay, that's awesome. So the first issue I think is really easy to fix. Because my hubris got the best of me. This has to be pressed, at least for now. Otherwise, we still need the action ID tracking. Because what's happening right now is that I'm pressing the E key that switches us to the holdable state, but then the next frame, because this is active, it still detects that I'm like holding the key down. So it transitions back to the holding state. Again, we know how to fix that using an action ID, but right now let's just switch this to press, because that's also gonna solve the issue. Because press is only true for one frame. Yeah, now I can pick it up and I can drop it down. The only problem is that it seems to not be updated while in the air. So basically this, right? But gravity is reset, so I guess this is called for like one frame. Because the gravity is reset and then the velocity is slightly changed. That's what makes it like fly off or whatever. But then it stops being called for one reason or another. And I think I know what the problem is. I think exited state is a optional component, isn't it? Yeah, because we remove it. So that's an option. Can I do that? I don't think I can. I mean, I have to do this. And then or actually map. No get here. Okay, that's it. Am I using this anywhere else? In my new code, at least. No, only Holdable uses it. That's awesome. So it's not even a tested feature. I don't even know if it works at all. Okay. Problem. I cannot pick up the cube now. That makes sense because it's always farther away than the terminal. What will video games do in that situation? I guess if we just change the pivot of the terminal to be like here, that's gonna fix it. Because then like approaching it closer, the cube is gonna take precedence. I feel like that's the best fix that we have right now. Yeah, no, that's always a cube. Maybe the cube could just like take priority always because it's pickable, pick-upable, holdable, I guess, right? And the terminal is not. So I guess it would make sense to always make something that can be picked up have a priority because you can just, you know, move it somewhere else and then use the terminal. Yeah, okay. So that works. Let's get the action ID back in here, I guess. We need to apologize it. Or apologize to it. Okay, so for now we're gonna just store the action ID inside of it, inside of the state enum. Right, so we can just take the action ID here. No, pretty simple actually. And then we just check input pick up, which is a stupid name, has changed since this action ID. The reference this. Okay, transition to free using the new ID. And then here we do the same thing. So okay, and now this can be active instead. Meanwhile, I'm thinking about the priority thing. How would we set up something like that? That would require some changes to the for loop here, right? I guess if priority was just a number, yeah, then that would be really easy to add here. What is this? What is your problem? It's not even necessary. It's also not necessary here. YouTube chat is so much stronger. Sad face. You need to do something about it. Listen. Not much I can do. Strike priority pub integer 8 and then derive comparison operator so you can do query iterator minimum, etc. No, we cannot do that because first of all, for loops are better. Second of all, we do need to keep track of the closest distance as well, because the way it needs to work then is that we're gonna have highest priority here. If I could type, right? Is there a negative infinity? It's not even a thing in I32. Okay, let it be 0. And so we want to keep track of the closest distance for the current priority. And only then. We don't want to find like whatever has the highest priority. Like I'm pretty sure there is no iterator method for doing that. unless a custom comparison, but a custom comparison won't work because closest distance is a float, so it cannot implement EQ. So then you would need to compute the distance twice for every object if you want to do like A/B comparison between, you know, all elements. Maybe priority could actually be a multiplier to shrink the distance between the player and the interactable. No, I think that would be a very roundabout way of doing that though. I think having just a component called priority and just accounting for it here would be the simplest approach. Because like we need another component regardless, right? In fact, we can actually come back to it later. But we don't even need a component, right? We can just... we can just match the variant here. Yeah, I don't think since we're like really only interested in types of things, I don't think we need another component. So then if priority is bigger than the highest priority, and then if priority is lower than the highest priority, actually, okay, hold on, there's a lot of if statements here. Another condition would be for the priority to be greater or equal to the highest priority. And then here highest priority is equal to priority. And then I suppose we can do an early out here if we are not available. Just immediately continue, nobody cares. Okay, so now if we overstep the, oh, and this should be here. So yeah, if we reach a higher priority, we want the closest distance to be the current distance. Do we want that? This should be equal. And then this should be an else. An or, excuse me. This is the logic that we're looking for. So if the priority is higher, and then we just set the highest priority to the priority, right? If the priority is highest, this is the closest match. If the priority is the same and the distance is lower, this is the closest match. We can finally try to get the most channel points ever. What do you mean by that? Who's we? We need to replicate this error. Hold on. Let's come back here. Yep. Okay. So now it's always a box. Twitch viewers. Oh, I see. For the fix me, as reference doesn't trigger change detection on mutable items. But I want change detection, right? Like I would need a way to check if the focus has changed and then actually change the value. And then trigger change detection. So like I know that there are ways of modifying the value without triggering change detection, but I want to trigger it, but only if the value has actually changed. But that's impossible to do without another loop. Because first you need to go through everything to make sure that, you know, you found the best match, and then you need to go through everything once again and check like, oh, is this the current match? If so, it should be focused, otherwise it shouldn't. But I'm not using change detection right now for anything. This is like, you know, for the future. Oh wait, I compiled this already. Okay, but that's nice. And all of this for what? Why did we do that? I forgot what we've been doing. Oh, okay, I get it. I wanted to have a way of like actually highlighting objects that are currently focused. Okay. So now we can take care of that. So right now they are correctly highlighted when we approach them. Actually, I don't... do we need to focus on them as well? I guess we could only highlight them if they are focused. Yeah, I think so. I think there is no point in highlighting them in any other case, at least for now. So yeah, you're only gonna be white if you are not available but focused. And then the cube, same thing. And we can also, since we're already here, take a reference to the active component. Make it red if it's active. And we need to fix this because currently the cube is not gonna get active. But that should not be difficult. We just need to mutate active here. So yeah, gravity, mutable, active, and now when we enter the state, that's gonna be true. And when we leave the state, that's gonna be false. Okay, it gets highlighted. If I put it here, now it's always the box. Hold on, let me check it like this. Yeah. Okay. How long do you think it will take to proceed onto making testing levels? As you said, probably off stream. I want to do it like tomorrow. This is what I'm doing right now, because in terms of the to-do, there's really nothing here that's like ground, you know, a gameplay breaking sort of. The force field is that just like a me thing, being like, oh, it would be nice to have it. Kinesis is not gonna be used. Walkable, this is also just like a visual glitch. It doesn't affect the gameplay. Jump pass maybe, but this is a quick fix. We can take care of this in just a second. Stop snapping to a slope. That's also probably necessary. Prevent players from getting stuck at the edge of a platform. Yeah, these are like, you know, minor glitches. Check the velocity change that happens. Oh, I fixed that actually. Right, so like I have all I need. So like that's probably what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. What we are doing today is mostly like visual related things, because, you know, we need to sort of convey to the player what they are doing, right? Because previously we just had a lot of debug vectors and all of that stuff obscuring the screen, and now I think it's a bit more clear as to like what you're supposed to do. So yeah, I want to like start making levels tomorrow, and then hopefully early next week send them to my patrons for the initial playtesting. Okay, so all of that is figured out now. Are there any errors, maybe? Any warnings? Nothing, okay. Yeah, allow players with the grounded ability to use jump as place in the air. Let's take a look at that. A launch pad, closest launch pad. Okay, how do we do that? I guess let's just duplicate this whole branch. This is just gonna be anywhere. This is gonna be grounded. If we have a closest launch pad, then controller can launch, can be omitted in this case, and actually in this case as well. Okay, should be it. We actually have a nice place to test it, so. Let me just fix it up a bit because I destroyed some of this. For the sake of testing. Okay, so this is the basic ability, meaning no ability at all. We can only use the jump pads and nothing else. So now here's grounded. We can only launch from the ground. We cannot launch from mid-air, but we should still, yeah, we can still use these. And they reset our ability, so we cannot do like a double jump, right, or anything like that. And then this should still not be used. Yeah, it's gonna be ignored because we have the ability to like launch ourselves from anywhere. And then anywhere is anywhere, right? Yep. It's a quick fix. What about ground but upside down? I think I did that. Not sure if there's a delay on the stream, but here you go. Just gonna enable, you know, the grounded ability, and now I can launch myself from the ceiling when I'm standing on the ceiling. To stop snapping to slope, this is too steep. Right now the player basically gets glued to walls. That is true. That is what happens. Okay, let's move this here for now. And make a little slope. A little slopey slope. So the current idea is that when we slide down, you know, moving to the left doesn't really unstick us from the wall, right? But we can accelerate or slow down a little bit. But the problem with the current implementation is that if the wall is like way steeper, or even just, you know, perpendicular to the ground, Oh wait, never mind, I have the game running. If that happens, we still get stick or glued to the wall, get stuck. Which is a bit counterintuitive because like you would think that I'm pressing the A key, right? I'm trying to go to the left the whole time after hitting the wall, and it just doesn't let me. So yeah, that's what the issue is about. And that should be fixable in the physics system, I think. Yeah, so this is it. If we have some ground normal, so there is a surface next to us, but we are not grounded, meaning that the slope is too steep, we're doing this. Just calculating a little friction. I'm looking at this, thinking what this is. Oh, I see. This is meant to like... If we get launched in a specific direction, as long as we hold a key that sort of corresponds to that direction, we're gonna maintain that velocity. Because otherwise we would just automatically get slowed down to the maximum airspeed. Yeah, anyway, so what we need to do here is basically an if, right? So if ground normal dot app is what? How would that work? And my imagination does not work. This is the app vector. This is the ground normal. As we approach the wall, we get from 1 to 0. And the current walkable slope is like 0.7, something like that, whatever that is. It's probably inverse cosine, I guess. Okay. So we probably want like an even smaller value to be the threshold here. Let's try something like 0.3, see where it leads us. So it has to be bigger than 0.3 to do this whole friction stuff. If I could write an if statement normally, that would be awesome. And then here, we should not try to stick to anything. There's some fascinating logic going on here. Movement speed. Why do we only care if it's like bigger or lower than 0.5? Otherwise it's X. It's a really weird function. What would that function be? right? If this is like X. Who wrote that? I need to see this with my own eyes. So if we are more than 0.5, which is defaults to 1, right, which is this, it's gonna be 1, that's gonna be 0, it's gonna be -1. Then we are -1 here, and then we just X. What is this? I'm sure there was some meaning behind that. So I guess when you reach this threshold, you just get snapped to whatever direction you're going towards. Does it need to be absolute for both sides? I'm not sure. Sorry, I saw your comment a bit late and I don't know what you're referring to. Yeah, so then we basically get maximum right, maximum left, that's okay. And then control velocity is just right times speed times movement speed. Yeah, okay, so yeah, if we overstep this threshold, we just snap to the maximum speed. And I remember why I did that, so that you don't lose momentum as quickly as you would otherwise. Because if you're moving extremely fast to the right, like say this is your average airspeed that you can achieve by just moving to the right, but for some reason, for example, you use a launch pad and you get yeeted in this direction really fast, you can maintain this velocity for some time by just holding right. And if you were to just tilt your joystick a little bit down, away from this direction, it would immediately start reducing your speed. I think that was the idea behind it. Is it a good idea? Probably not. Okay, so let's not replicate it for the wall, because there is probably no way you would get launched away from a wall like this anyway, so we don't need to worry about that. Do this for now. This should give us very basic left and right control. Okay, I still cannot unglue myself from the wall for some reason. Let's do some advanced debugging right here, as any proper programmer does. I really need to figure out my my debugger, because now that I have stepping, look at this, we can just step through every single frame individually, so we can pause the game, set up breakpoints, and then, you know, go through them. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay, so it is much lower than expected. Maybe I'm gonna try out Rust Rover for the next stream. Somebody told me that, I mean, one of you actually, during one of the previous live streams, told me that its debugger is much easier to set up than the one in Visual Studio Code. Okay, I'm kind of silly. We need to multiply it by airspeed, of course. How else? How else would that make any sense? That just ranges from -1 to 1. Yep. Can already see that we can fly away from the wall. So now another problem is that we can force ourselves into the wall, right? And apparently it's not a problem. I don't trust it though. What is going on? Why does it work? I don't get it. I'm holding D. And it just works. Unthinkable. What if we do this? So now it's like, you know, on the negative side. Oh, that messed up a few things. Hold on, because that moved, right? Has to be here. We need to figure this out. This is an issue, by the way. Oh no, it's a problem with the bottom ones because they moved. Yeah, okay, should be better. Yeah, that's a really specific spot because this this vertex is where the spline starts. So if it detects the start of the walkable area like on this side, it thinks that needs to go all the way around. And I don't feel like fixing it. It's completely not worth it. I'm just gonna have to remember it when designing levels to, you know, hide this spot somewhere so that no walkable needs to pass through it. Anyway, yeah, that also just works. I don't know why. I'm scared. Yeah, I'll take it though. Is she wobbling like a pixel back and forth? Yeah, sometimes. Not when I want to show it though. Whenever I want to be like, oh, what's going on here? It stops. But it like, oh, here it goes. I'm assuming it has to do with something. I guess. Probably the like collision intersection detection, which happens here. Let's see if it's like constantly applying a correction, because that would be my main guess. And then it's just like oscillating back and forward, back and forth. No, it is not. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder is the position changing? Yeah, the position is changing, so it has to be caused by something. Let me just rebuild this to make sure, because I don't know if I properly rebuild this change. Yeah, no, it does nothing. Okay. So if it's not this correction, perhaps it's snapping to the ground. Fun physics engine junk, yay. Well, technically it's not the physics engine. It's my own code. Yeah, it is snapping to the ground, causing it. I'm assuming snapping to the ground together with some floating point errors. Okay, this should be easy to account for. Yeah, because we snap to the ground with cast offset times 2. So if I just subtract cast offset times 1.5, that should land us in like a dead zone kind of thing. Maybe. Maybe not. Oh, I mean, it's not... I mean, it still is, it's just slower, smaller, less noticeable. Maybe it's just... Yeah, it's just random. Yeah, I'm gonna add this to the to-do list, because I don't feel like figuring it out right now, especially since like at the end of the day it's gonna be a pixelated game, so I don't think it would even be visible once we have proper sprite snapping in place. Okay, what have we done? Snob snapping to a slope, that's too steep, yeah, that would be it. Okay, any warnings? No. Okay, I guess we can figure out the best slope to like stop snapping. But for now 0.3 feels like would be okay. Let me see though. Okay, so it snaps here. That's, I think, okay, that's reasonable because we're still sliding. Okay, I think this would be a good place to like stop snapping, because I feel like once you're at the point where like the player in the air would sort of go farther than the slope itself, right? If I were to start without any velocity. Yeah, I guess this is like the edge. Maybe a little less than that. Yeah, that would be it. I don't think it's actually possible to test, because if the slope is not steep enough, we just won't have enough acceleration to unstick and unglue ourselves from it. Yeah, and here it works. Okay, I think it's perfect. I think I just guessed the perfect number. Yeah, we can still do it here. And I cannot do it here. Okay, I think that's perfect. Prevent players from getting stuck at the edge of a platform. Make them slide down instead. That's gonna be difficult. I do not look forward to that. The problem is we can technically get in a position where... Oh, right here. I'm pressing the D key, but the angle right now is too steep for us to walk up. But it's not steep enough for us to slide down. So we're sort of stuck in this position. Should not be possible. I'm pretty sure, like, if the raycast, because there is a raycast that goes from like the center of the player downwards, right? If it detects that there is no ground, the player should just slide down. Doesn't matter the angle of the slope. So then you can only really, you know, get as close as this, and then anything beyond that is gonna make you fall down. It's the beauty of circular colliders, unfortunately. Why is the hitbox circle anyway? Because we're changing gravity. The whole game is about changing gravity. You know? Like, look at this slope, for example. If you were to try to do that with a square, you would probably die. Ever since Mario Galaxy, we've sort of figured out that if you want to change gravity, just use a circle as a collider and just don't rotate it at all. Even in like Portal 2, there are like actual scientific papers written about the bugs caused by the rotation of the capsule collider when you travel through portals that are like positioned differently. And the circle has none of these problems. Scientific papers, damn, okay. I'm not making it up. Unless somebody lied to me when I spread misinformation on the internet. But I vividly remember somebody talking about this. I don't know if it wasn't even like on IGN, they have the Devs React series, I think, where like the developers of a game react to a speedrun. And there is one for Portal 2. And I believe they talk about this there, but I'm not sure. Because it was, hold on, I may be making this up, right? So a grain of salt. But I think the episode about Portal 2, they have a speedrunner on the team as well, alongside developers, or they have like a dedicated video about that. I don't know. I watched too many YouTube videos. They all blend together. But now I'm interested. Hold on, let me try to find it. It sounds like something Valve could do. They are testing a lot from what I've heard. Okay, I think it's this video on IGN. You can go watch it and like verify if I'm making stuff up. It's like Portal speedrunner explains to Valve how he breaks their game. I think that's what they did. They had the video about, you know, devs react, and then they recorded this afterwards or something like that. I would believe that a speedrunner. Oh my gosh, what is the full TAS? Tool assisted speedrun. Excuse me. Went through extensive testing to check for those tiniest errors. Yeah, especially the like Portal 2 speedrunning community, because they are on like the next level. No, I take that back. I feel like every speedrunning community is crazy. Not fair to compare them. Just remember the like, what is it, 8-hour long video essay about the speedruns in Mario Galaxy. It wasn't even a speedrun. It was, what was it? It was like A-less all stars, or like trying to collect all of the stars without pressing A. Yeah, anyway. I feel like that would be a nice place to end, actually. Today, a little bit of a shorter live stream. I think we fixed most of the issues. I will be gladly, you know, making some levels tomorrow. And the next live stream is planned on Sunday. To any new people, by the way, I do have a fixed schedule now. So if you go to my channel on twitch.tv, you can actually see when I'm gonna be streaming. Hold on, let me pull that up. Right. So the current schedule is Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, same time as today, for the foreseeable future. So the next stream is gonna be on Sunday, and hopefully at that point we're gonna tackle some more interesting things. I will figure out the playtesting myself, and then we have these things to handle, which I think would be cool to do on a live stream. Right? We have, you know, setting up the UI using Velo. That's gonna be fun. I want to create an Asprite processor, just like the one I have for Blender, because Asprite has a command line tool, and we could just run it automatically to export the sprite sheets. That would be fun. We still have the switch to Bevy's Bezier curves, but they do miss one functionality. Which we could probably just steal from Velo and just do that manually, because that's probably not that complex, the algorithm, although I'm not sure. And then we have like proper level reloading. That's also like, futuristically speaking, we need a way to like actually load a level, probably detect when the level should be loaded. And ideally have a button that reloads the level, because right now I need to restart the whole thing if I lose the cube, for example. Just watched a 3-hour video on invisible walls in the same game. Yeah, it gets recommended to me on YouTube as well. It's tempting me. Guess I'm gonna have something to do on Saturday. Do you use a library for GUI? No. I am crazy, and I will be using Velo, which is, it's not for UI, it's basically a 2D rendering engine. You know, like the Canvas API in a browser, or this thing whose name I don't remember. There is this C++ library developed by Google. Something with a K. I don't remember, but it's the classical like, oh, draw lines, draw squares, fill them with this, give them that stroke, stuff like that, right? Because I figured that I don't need that much layouting for my UI, and this is maybe famous last words, but I think we can do this. I have a good feeling about that. We'll use something like Yoga for layout. Like, that's the thing. I don't think I need that. Also, there is something like Yoga, by the way. Hold on. There is Taffy, I believe. And Taffy is basically Yoga, but in Rust. So if anybody is looking for something, apparently that's a really good choice. Because it's you know, just like Yoga is the Flexbox implementation, right? According to the specs. I was looking for something like that. Yeah, like I cannot recommend it because I haven't used it yet, but I'm also, because I'm looking into offloading layouting in Motion Canvas to a web worker. So I've been sort of researching that, and Taffy looks promising. Yeah, but I think I can just position elements on the screen. Sounds crazy, but I don't think I need a Flexbox layout for what I'm going for. Again, maybe that's crazy. And I'm pretty sure Bevy also uses Taffy, yeah. So that's what Bevy uses if you just use their UI. Which maybe that would be the way to go. Use their UI, their like node-based UI, and then do custom rendering with Velo on top of that. Yeah. Again, a lot of cool things to handle during the next live stream. I mean, not all of them, but one of them for sure. And I'm gonna tackle this on my own. Yeah. We can we build a game? No, we cannot. I don't think we can. Yeah, because I removed all of the embedded assets. Oh well, I guess next time I'm gonna finish the next live stream with actually building the game and running it as its own executable. Okay, anyway, we are finishing this live stream. Thank you everybody for tuning in. As always, it's been lovely having you here. And yeah, have a great rest of your day or evening or good night, and I'll see you soon.